Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. We greet you guys with the greetings of peace. Welcome back to Voices of the Deen. Let me just start by saying I apologize. I got really tied up with things last week and I couldn't really get an episode out for you guys last Friday. But alhamdulillah, all praises are due to Allah. We are here with another exciting episode of Voices of the Deen. We even brought you guys today a special guest. Now our special guest went from growing up into a Christian household, then later getting older, getting into high school, and he began thinking, he began looking into his faith, and he realized, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't benefit me in any way. So he left Christianity, he became an atheist, and then he found the right path, the right religion, the purpose of life, and now he bear witnesses that there is no God but God, and he is here today to tell us his story. But before we get into that, we threw together a little freestyle, Voices of the Deen style. So check that out and stay tuned for another great episode of Voices of the Deen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We start with the blessing. Sit back, relax. Class is now in session. Open your mind. I'm about to teach you a lesson. But hey, homie, put away that math book. But rather take a deep, deep look at this world, into this atmosphere. How we all get here, y'all should all be in fear as the hour draws near. Ooh. And know that the life of this world is just a show, and when the trumpet blows with just one blow, everything will go. Ooh. And know that man is at the lowest of low, except for those who believe in Tawheed and do the righteous deeds. Cause you see, we were first all dunya, now we're all deen. Beards and miswaks, gotta keep the heart clean. Now I think I've said too much. Let me pass it to brother Ibrheem.
Yo, check it out. Islam, it's a religion with no time or place. Pure like water, even without the taste. It's no face, no image, just a belief in being in a divine course. Plot and pass from a divine source. The sun is gonna rise, tomorrow we're believing. Represents a belief in being in a divine order. Islam in the fitra, never a quitter, abstaining from liquor. Their minds are slow, we stay much quicker. Oh Allah, make me prostrate like a baby before its birth. Put my face in the dirt. That's how we make salat. See, because this universe was created by an unseen knowledge. Man was given his needs and his powers. The monotheistic worship is expressed in Islam, the Ottoman Empire, the Holy Quran. But something went wrong in this glorious script. Names of things changed and exited. We're trying to be righteous since it all left, forced to sacrifice what we once expressed. Now it's back to the shaitanic ways where we gamble our whole dang life away. Once we had a road and a map, now we're happy just to get a cab. Life is playing tricks like an evil jester. Hate, envy, greed are the feelings that fester. Seems we're all slaves in the devil's den, doomed to pay our dues all over again.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Voices of the Deen. We got here today is brother Ibrheem, formerly known as Brian. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam.
How you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. It's great to have you here on the show.
Thank you. You're highly welcome, man. Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Now, like I mentioned in my intro, you went from growing up into a Christian household to later down the line you became an atheist, and now you're a Muslim. So I guess we can start from, that's a lot of things to go through, being a Christian, then being an atheist, now coming to the straight path, coming to the purpose of life, which is Islam. Now, let's just start by asking you, how was your life as a Christian? Were you very devoted to your faith? Were you, every now and then you'd go to church? Did you feel the Creator? Did you read the Bible every day? How was your life as a Christian?
Okay, well, my earliest memories would probably be when I was a young boy. My brother and I would sneak down to my grandmother's room when she would come visit our house, and she would read us stories from the Bible. Okay. And I really loved it then. I was really close with my grandmother, and so first I saw kind of Christianity through her eyes. Then later in life, my mom kind of started labeling my grandmother as old-fashioned and her ideas as old-fashioned. She was Southern Baptist. She didn't even have a TV in her home, so my mom would be like, how can she not have a TV in her home? How can she know what's going on in the world? And So eventually I started seeing my grandmother, sadly, as being like out of touch with the world and old fashioned. I started to take my parents' route, which my parents were like nominally Christian. They would say they were Christian, but they had stopped going to church. It had really no foundation in their life.
Okay.
So that's kind of my history in Christianity.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now when did you? Now you said you became an atheist. What age made you? What age did you become an atheist? Was it in high school or?
Okay. The time that I left Christianity was actually when I experienced my first turmoil in my life. Up until the age of about 14, I'd had like a pretty happy childhood. I had no really reasons to question the deeper meaning of life. And then when I was in high school, I really faced some trials, and I was really searching for something, searching for answers, searching for something to give me some moral strength, some spiritual strength. So naturally, I reached out to Christianity. I opened up the Bible and I asked, God, please, show me something here in the Bible that's going to speak to me. And I didn't find anything. And so I just felt frustrated. I would read it, and the stories, they didn't relate to me. They didn't make sense. And so through that frustration, it also came like an anger. And so I would start researching Christianity, not for the purpose of learning more about it, but for the purpose of going to school and arguing with my friends who were Christian, and proving to them what I thought was not realistic about Christianity, or that wasn't rooted in truth and wasn't rooted in knowledge.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
was no intellect. It didn't make sense. You're like,
It didn't make sense to me intellectually. It didn't sound realistic to me. Even like stories of the supernatural aspects of Jesus' life, like him walking on water, him resurrecting from the dead after being dead for 3 days and then rising. That didn't make so much. That I was like, I need something realistic. I understood. And when I was arguing with these Christians, I became an atheist. So I would read about philosophy books, and I would read and understand that there is a higher power. We're created, so there has to be a creator.
yeah,
And I would also like to get into issues of determinism, like is everything that we do ultimately determined by a creator who had prior knowledge, or are our actions do we have a choice? I was always fascinated by these philosophical issues. So I had thoughts of a creator, of a higher power, infinite, eternal, absolute, but I had no use for religion. I thought religions were useless. And being in America, I was kind of Eurocentric. I thought, hey, if our religion, Christianity, doesn't work, then surely those religions on the East are even worse than our religion, because we got the best of everything here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now at this point in life, you're in high school. Your logic developed. You begin thinking on your own, and you came to the point where well, hey, this makes no sense. This doesn't relate to me. There's no truth behind this. So you automatically went to, well, no religion can really make sense. No religion really has any meaning. But how did you come to Islam?
Right.
How did you find the meaning in the religion of
Really,
peace?
the thing is, I wanted religion. I wanted something to help me grow and improve myself and become a better person, become a more disciplined person, become a more peaceful person. I wanted something like that, but I couldn't find it in Christianity. And so there were two aspects. There was one, I needed something useful in my life that could transform my life and transform me as a person. Number two, I needed something that made sense to me logically. And so when I started reading about Islam, and I understood that at its essence, it's structuring your life in such a way that your life is a worship to the Creator, to the Most High, and so that you can grow into that. And so that you remind yourself 5 times a day through the prayer about your Creator, and you ask the Creator to keep you on the straight path, and to take you, those thoughts that would distract you or take you away from God. You constantly asking God to keep you away from those things that are going to keep you away from the remembrance of God. So that really grabbed me, that concept. And the other concept was how this can be useful in my life. Okay, now I know that there's a God. I'm reminding myself of the God. Now, how's this going to be useful in my life? And when I read the story of Nathan McCall, he's now a Washington Post journalist, but before that he was a thug, drug dealer. He had shot some people, had gone to prison. He described himself as the worst kind of a person. And when I read about him being in prison and how he used fasting to transform his life, how the prayers, waking up every morning and reminding himself of the Creator, and reminding himself of the true purpose in life, how it gave him a higher goal, a higher purpose, and he grew into that each and every day with each and every prayer, fasting, the way he would deal with Muslims, reading about different Muslim countries that put him in touch from a worldly perspective of the Muslim Brotherhood, and it made him see life in such a larger global context.
Exactly.
And even even more than that, it elevated his mind and elevated his heart to a higher power, a higher purpose. When I read about how it could transform this prisoner's life, I was like, well, if it can do all that for him, imagine what it could do for me.
You. Yeah. And what it can do wonders for anybody who just really opens their heart. They just look into the religion. They just really look into it. They leave the arrogance behind. They just open the heart, really.
How can you be arrogant? 5 times a day you're putting your face to the floor. It's a funny story about Malcolm X. He said he couldn't do it. He couldn't submit himself when he first tried to do the Muslim Salat. And his teacher told him, he said, hey, you're able to get on your knees to pick locks, to break into houses when you used to rob and steal from houses, but you can't get on your knees and put your face to the floor to glorify your Creator. And he thought about that to himself. And when he first prostrated to Allah, he started crying because he felt this release.
The release.
So you're submitting yourself to the Creator. So that humbles you as a person, and it brings peace of mind.
It brings the peace that
it clears,
that you are just here as a traveler. This world isn't all of that. You have simply the purpose to worship the Creator and to really get gratitude.
We're here.
Grateful.
We're here. This is a blessing from the Creator that we're even here. I mean, the sad thing is in America, we have so much. We're a country with so much, yet we feel we have so little. We're always complaining. We complain about the food that we eat. We complain about the weather. We complain about our sports team that loses on Sunday or whatever. And we forget all the blessings that God has given us. This earth, He's keeping our heart beating without us even thinking about it. He's keeping us breathing. He's put vegetation in the earth that feeds us, animals that feed us, so many beautiful blessings that we forget about. But as Muslims, we're constantly reminded of the benefits that God has given us, and we do this daily throughout our day, throughout our lives, and it really makes us grateful people, grateful to Allah.
Well, that was a beautiful story, brother. That was very touching to know how you can go through so many things in life, but you end up back on the straight path, because everybody is born a Muslim. You're a revert, not a convert. It's a revert, because you came back to your original religion.
We're all created. We're here, so we all have a natural inclination to our Creator. That's put in all of mankind. If a man is on a deserted island and he has an inclination to his Creator and he calls out to his Creator, in essence, that's Islam. This deen is so simple and so pure. It's a relationship. You don't go through any statue or stone or man. It's just a relationship between you and your Creator, and every day you get to strengthen that, and every day you're challenged and tested with that.
With how you will worship the Creator. Every day is a challenge. Every day is a test.
Every day is a
reminder. We're all
reminder,
just looking for the reward in the hereafter, inshallah, if God wills. But brother, it was great having you here on Voices of the Deen. I hope anybody who watches this video, anyone who hears your story, really, really sees the true message behind it. And if you guys have any questions, you can always email us at voicesofthedeen@gmail.com, or just leave us a comment. We'll definitely get back to you. Anyways, tune in next week, inshallah, if God wills, to another exciting episode of Voices of the Deen. And assalamu alaikum.